What's up, guys? We have another Build Beauties today. Now, of course, today's beauty. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, this is Brandon Biggers. You may know me as the really salty Tapion fan on Retro right now.
Mm.
I feel like I've been pretty vocal
Yeah, no, absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely. Been really hating on the sorts of. But anyway, Brandon is here to showcase his Black Manipulative Nail deck. Now, this is a super, super interesting deck. I know that you played it in a tournament over the UOP season, unofficial organized play season, and you did really good with it. And it is
hmm
a really, really cool list. And this is like a lot of people love nails, so I love you to kind of explain the combination or why the manipulative master with this with nail here.
So Manipulative Mastery is legitimately my favorite mastery in the game. It just does so much. It has so many just fun interactions. It's like for me, it's like Protective Mastery, except more uh, aggressive. It does more. It's more advances the game state a little bit better. So I love manipulative mastery. I was trying to figure out how I could work with manipulative to um, to try to stick capture shenanigans a little bit better. Because that black capture has always been one of my favorite cards. I think anybody who's played against the black deck is always for that black capture. So it's a very powerful card. It's very very strong. And so I was just, I was kind of in the market for a new deck. We're just kind of kicking some ideas around. Was really bored. Just toward the end of the UOP season, so I mean, I had already played all my like power decks that I felt like were really strong, and so I saw Nails level one, and I was like, wait a second, does that actually work with Black Capture? And so I messaged Ryan O'Malley, and sure enough, it does. It is a legal interaction. So I got really excited because now I could pretty much stick a black capture on anybody at any time, and came to realize, that black has these outstanding hit effects. Um, and that's pretty much the downside of a lot of black cards is that they have these really really powerful effects, but they have to hit. So I mean, everybody holds the physical block for the D burst in the black matchup, or the energy block for the energy web. There's always. Sorry, my dog is being really stupid, so I'm gonna move her real quick.
Oh, you're all good.
Go. Just trying to pull my headphones
Yeah, it's all
off.
good. It's all good. So talking
Um,
about the D-burst and the energy web though, and all the hit effect cards.
yeah, yeah. So there's just a lot of power in black, but it kind of has to hit, and so nail sort of circumvents that really sad feeling you get when somebody blocks your deburst, and so I just started really examining a lot of the black card pool, and looking at a couple cards that are pretty underplayed, and realized that Black Nail could be pretty powerful, and so I threw it together. I think it was against Mark V. Was the first person I played it against, and he loaded a serious deck against it. And then he reset the game, and he's like, "I don't think that deck's good, so I'm not gonna play it with this." And I was like, "Okay." And I totally just like binned his whole deck, like it just trashed it. And so he loaded the original deck that he was gonna play against it, and I won that game too. And he was
Nice.
like, "This might be the most annoying deck I've ever played against. You have to play it in a tournament." I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
I got some games in on the side, and I actually made a bet with Casey and Josh
Yeah.
Gregory. I was like, guys, I'm gonna make top eight with a nail deck this weekend, and they were like, whatever, like you're full of shit. And I was like, nah, seriously, I'm gonna make top eight with nail, and they were like, whatever. And I was like, okay, and so I rolled it out and went 4-1 in Swiss, and lost first round of top eight, but I made
Yeah.
good on my word.
No, no, yeah, I was, I remember reading it, and you were, because we were in the same group chat, and I saw you kept saying, "Oh my God, I won," and then you're like, "I won again," and I was like, "Oh, I'm like 3-0," and I was just like, "Oh my God, like what is he playing?" Oh, that was great. Well, that's really cool. I have been on a bit of a nail kick lately. I've been playing a lot of Namekian Nail when I have been playing Retro Z here, or sorry, Fan Z here, and I do really like this level one. I really feel like this deck definitely really I think it's probably the deck that I feel just conceptually from what I've looked at the card pool probably takes best advantage of his level one that I've seen, and you definitely have the results for it. So why don't we move on to the hit effect cards, like all the attacks here, and start with those because you've been talking about the powerful ones. Uh, I know that you built the idea around capture originally,
Yeah.
but you have a pretty you have like a very like mixed beats here. It's all like life card beats, but very mixed. Do you kind of want to go through some of these choices and why you ran them, and like maybe like the numbers of them?
Sure. Yeah. So the first card I put in the deck was three capture. I said that was the idea, and then I think a lot of decks lately have moved away from the 3/3 D burst energy web, and so I mean, obviously, I want to take full advantage of those because I can gain a lot of momentum in a combat if I can lock out even one attack type from my opponent. So those are both at three.
Mm,
um, I included the face crush because it's a lower anger two and manipulative, which black struggles with anger. So I mean, I kind of needed that support there. Um, and hit, I go get a capture and put it on somebody. And the two that really I started to test and I just ended up loving, black teamwork won me games. Like
yeah,
it was so ridiculous. I think I won 2 out of my 4 games with black teamwork because I threw it and it was late game. So I mean, I know I'm milling over 7 cards in most cases. Um and uh and so I would throw this attack and people would be like, "Okay, well I'm definitely going to stop that." And I'm like, "Yeah, well I'm definitely nail." So it doesn't matter.
yeah. This
And so
I really liked his card back in like yeah, like set three's when it came out, but I really this like set four and set three. I remember like Black Trunks running this card was really good, and there's a few like occasionally like Black Krillin would run this card as well. But it's a big nuke, especially
yeah,
later on in the game. Like it is a huge nuke.
absolutely. And I think it's a card, I mean, a lot of people slept on. And so, for me to, my first match in that tournament was against Mischievous Deborah. And he got really aggressive and was trying to push the advantage on me. And I hit him with D burst 3 times, which I felt bad about. But late game, I was able to close him out with the teamwork because it was really close. And he milled 10 and it was over.
Hmm.
And kind of on the note of the Deborah matchup, that's one reason I went with manipulative with Nail is because of the stage game. Because you have to ensure that you can land that attack if you need to. And so manipulative lets you, if your opponent enters on you, I mean, I run a pretty high attack volume.
Yeah,
So if my opponent enters, I'm probably going to be able to prevent and keep my stages. And also,
gain the
late in
stages.
combat, yeah, if I need to throw a black face crush, I can gain my stages and make sure that my capture sticks on you at the end. So that's another reason for manipulative as a card choice.
That yeah, I because I had tried to play Black Nail like Mischievous, and that was the biggest issue I had was just you would not have stages ever.
Yeah,
I've also tried. I think I probably tried Perceptive and Mischievous, but it was just like you just not getting the stages. I think really hurts him, and
yeah,
that's another reason
because
why.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's just like why I think this is just so good too. It's just the like the double stage protection essentially. You can have a you can gain the stages at any point in the combat, and then you can just prevent to stop them from taking the stages away.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the reasons that it became so powerful. Because I did consider mischievous,
Mm,
but manipulative is definitely better.
for sure.
And then the other hit effect. So I've got two others. The first one is disorienting blow.
Very good
Um,
card.
it's a card that gets forgotten so much,
Yeah.
and that was actually Dan Dagran who suggested that one. And it's I mean it. I'm not running confrontation,
I see that.
and black disorienting blow is one reason why. And the other reason is that I mean, most of the time, like I feel like 90% of the time, I'm a pretty aggressive deck in combat, and so most of the time, I'm going to be confrontationing a block anyway, and nail sort of eliminates the need for that.
True.
But also, I can just Black Disorienting Blow, pay a stage, and go steal their Confrontation or Stare Down and play it
Yeah.
immediately against them and deal a life card in the process. So
Yeah.
um, that became really, really fun. I got Black Disorienting Blow off a couple of times. Um, the I kept it at 2 and also teamwork at 2 because I mean early game and situationally, I mean neither one of those is really good. Occasionally it just becomes fodder for the mastery.
Yeah.
So that I mean, because in early game teamwork, if I'm in combat, that's going to be more useful to prevent an attack than anything else.
For sure.
I'm on 2 nails dashing attack as well. I think I would increase that to 3. I'm not sure what I would remove at this point, but I think it does need to be a 3 of just for the ball matchup. Um,
Yeah, I could see that.
which surprisingly, Nail sort of brings to like he brings this advantage to the table. The crits were very, very relevant and very useful in every game I've played almost. So the fact that it's just an automatic crit, and also you can play it on defense with manipulative mastery because it's considered styled, so you can get a crit on the defense
That is true.
um,
That is
with
very
Nail's
true.
dashing attack, which is super cool. There's a lot of value there. So
Yeah,
I don't think there's a block in the game that's like prevent all damage, use a crit. So
yeah. I
um,
mean, I've definitely enjoyed using. I think it was like the black. I thought it was like something kick, and it's the reveal get a crit, but it's banished after use when you use it when you reveal it. But dashing attack is not. I mean, not that you really have a ton of recursion in the deck, but yeah, no, dashing
sure,
attack in my testing with Nail has been incredibly powerful for some reason. Like I never thought that just having a crit was that as good as it is. But it's surprising that how well that card shores up a lot of styles, and
yeah,
just I don't know. It brings me back. I haven't played crit heavy decks since Red and Rage days. It feels like so. This is
sure.
definitely sleeper good for sure.
But I think crits are always relevant. They're a very powerful effect, and so anything that gives you a free crit. I mean, even
Hmm.
Tapion coming up with the Ocarina, like that's going to be a solid card.
Yeah,
So
that card is for sure. I think that card's very, very, yeah, definitely,
it's going to
definitely.
end up being really good. And you can also stack Nail's dashing attack with Black Absorption Drill,
Oh, true.
which yeah, there's a lot of like really like this was a deck that I kind of learned by playing. I
Hmm.
threw all this stuff in, and then I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy." And then to kind of round out the rest of my attack suite, I have Black Gut Crusher, which is really, really strong and manipulative, obviously, for the drill tutor because my 3 drills that I run are really relevant. I love Black Flashback and manipulative.
It does
And
have.
since I'm Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. Go. You.
So Black Flash Black on the defense is just really, really powerful. And since I'm running 6 combat enders, you can also be kind of cheeky and just end combat, and their cards banished forever, which I think is fun. um, and then Trick Shots, Black Annihilation is another card that's really strong and manipulative, just because on the destroy you get the rejuve, plus it's 2 endurance and banishment on defense, and then obviously Black Shoulder Charge as a 2 of. Um, I really wanted Black Shoulder Charge to be 3, but I just felt like it was difficult to really cut any of my hit effects that are really relevant for a third copy. So I think everything else you know I kind of needed. Um,
One card I'm a little curious about not seeing is Black Double Team.
yeah, that was in an early version of the deck, um, and it was really strong, but it didn't really advance my game plan. Um, so
Hmm.
it ended up being a cut eventually, because it ended up being a little bit more of a tempo deck. Taking my hits when I can, and I mean, do you see a cut for Black Double Team in here?
No, that's
It's
fair.
kind
That's
of,
fair.
and I have this in here too that I didn't pull out, but I do run 1 heroic dashing punch, um, because You can also, I mean, I just needed it for the anger matchup in black. Um,
For sure, for sure.
Unfortunately, you can't activate it with nail, but I guess maybe I could cut one of those for a black double team or something. But
Maybe.
yeah.
So we'll move on to the block lineup here. You have a fair amount of blocks, a lot of omni blocks.
Hmm.
What do we have here? 9 omni blocks. What was
Yeah.
what was the reasoning behind the omni blocks?
Um, so they're just really powerful, and really like I think that I'd probably change my block lineup with. I mean, it looks like we're getting a huge influx of focus attacks
Yeah,
coming out pretty soon. So I'd probably change my block lineup a little bit. But Black Hop is extremely powerful. Banishment and rejuvenation. It just does so much. And Knee Clash, I felt like was really relevant in those anger matchups. Again, Knee Clash is a really really powerful card, and Nail can take advantage of it. So I figured why not.
yeah. Plus,
Um,
black does suffer from anger, so
yeah, and I didn't really want to run Wallbreaker. Like it was kind of a uh, I mean it's I guess I could fit Wallbreaker in, but I I don't know. Like Wallbreaker, I feel like is really hit or miss sometimes.
for
And I was
sure.
kind of, I was trying to see if I could maybe get away with, my singleton heroic dashing punch and my trick shots and my knee clash,
I was
So,
gonna say I was surprised you ran dashing punch over Wallbreaker. In all honesty,
well, I think like as a one of, it's more powerful. Um,
yeah,
I don't know.
interesting. I mean the banish damage is not bad either, especially considering you do have the mastery. So you do benefit and like things like teamwork do benefit from banished damage. So
Hmm.
there's like the light synergy I can understand. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like Neil's heritage a lot just because it's a double block.
yeah,
You can use it twice, and so I don't know. It was just sort of it was a decision that essentially came down to I want to make sure that I'm prepared for every situation. So I like omni blocks. I will like them less once all these focused attacks start seeing more prominence. Um, but it served me pretty well. I mean, I didn't have any issues stopping anything, and I mean, you only have so many spheres,
for sure,
so it's
for
kind
sure.
of um,
Very true.
yeah. Black Swipe, I love. It's like my favorite energy block in black. Banishing 3 cards from a discard pile, always relevant. And the same with Black Brace.
Yeah,
Banishing and stage gain. So I love the synergy with manipulative because, I can stop an attack and then I can reveal and get my stages back.
yeah.
So that's the rationale there.
It's almost like a three stop if you think about it. If you play brace, then you reveal to prevent, gain the stages, then you know what I mean. Then you can take 5 stages of damage. Um, you know, you that's the way I look at that cards like that, at least myself when I'm building. I do really like
I
Black
agree.
Brace. It's very, very, very good card. I've really come to enjoy it. Like I feel the same way about Black Swipe as well.
I
And it's
just, I knew going in that my weakness was going to be physical beats.
yeah,
And this was a really prominent physical beats meta. And so, I wanted to make sure that I was ready
yeah, you're pretty geared
in
up.
this cases. Um, so, uh, so yeah, and I love black adaptation.
You only have run one.
Um, I run one,
Hmm.
mostly because I was feeling like I was getting pretty event heavy.
Yeah,
But I wanted to, and it's not BAU, So if you really need it, like you can recur it a little bit with black absorption drill. Um, but I usually run adaptation as at least a one of, just because it's really powerful. And I mean, the deck is kind of meant to operate around. Can I stop you from doing cool things that I don't want you to do to me? Yes. Okay, we'll stay in combat. No, I want to run away. Like
yeah.
that's kind of the rationale. So
Yeah, I totally agree. But adaptation's a very good card. I totally agree with in a well, before we get to into the combat ending, why don't we move over to the board then? Um,
Sure.
3 power up, 3 searching technique.
I feel like it's pretty standard. You know,
Yeah.
searching technique is really strong, and that's just about eliminating threats. Um, I obviously don't want digs to hit me.
Mm.
You know, so that was always kind of something I'd look for. Anything that could level me, which ended up being kind of a problem
Earthball
because
too.
yeah, Earthball 2 unfortunately was something you can't get rid of with searching technique, obviously, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what ended up ending me in the tournament that I played in. So
Yeah.
and then power up. I mean, power up is still one of the most powerful cards in the game, bar
Yeah.
none.
It's definitely. Plus, you can loop it. It's not banish after use as well.
Yeah, yep. And so power up loops are always. I mean, I feel like an asshole every time I do it, but it happened more than once in that tournament where I was able to get absorption drill live and then stack a power up and you know just consistently end combat when I needed to, and that gets pretty backbreaking when you have a capture attached, when you have a prevent on board. I mean, like there's so much that you can do to really stick what you need to stick and run away, and I mean, and that's legitimately this deck is extremely frustrating to play against. It's there were a couple people who were verbally frustrated during the games because, and I understand, you
Sure.
know, but you know, and so black absorption drill is extremely powerful with Nail, and because his level one mills every time they stop an attack. So every time they stop an attack, if you have absorption drill out, you're stacking the top of your deck. So that becomes you know kind of a pick your poison situation for your opponent
Yeah.
because they can stop you, can try to stop your attack, and you are still going to stack the top of your deck, or they can let it hit, and then they've got other issues that they're going to have to deal with. So
Yeah, it's kind of a
um,
definitely sets up a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, that's his level one. It's already that way, but the absorption gel on top of it is
yeah,
just extra. You know.
and his level two does function the same way. You still get that destroy every time they stop. It's obviously less powerful,
Yeah.
which became the reason I lost was because I got off level one. So the stop.
I'll be 1 second here while you're getting that, but um, no, I really like the list so far. I mean, I like a lot of the choices. There's just so much extra little bits of synergy that I really feel like you said, you have to play the deck to understand that synergy. You know, I feel like a lot of sequencing too kind of comes involved with the mastery as well. Oh,
Absolutely. It became a really just a really interesting deck to play. It's very technical, and you know, absorption drill is obviously one of the most powerful cards in the game, but it's also, I mean, and that's obvious, but
yeah,
I feel like it has some extra goodness with Nail that I don't know. I didn't realize until I actually started to play the deck. Like you, I wish I could say, "Oh yeah, I'm like a deck genius who
yeah,
built this on purpose." And but it was like it was one of those things where I was trying to take advantage of capture as I do, and ended up taking advantage way more often with Nail. So it worked out. And then smoothness drill again, power card in black. And rupture drill, I just really like because of the passive banishments, the fact that you can mastery it into play, get some value out of that, and you know it's a nice buff as well.
hmm
And then kind of, I guess, kind of rounding out the list, I've got Earthball 7 to dodge out of combat, and we were just talking about this edition, but Wolf
yeah,
because it's, I feel like it should be Black Wolf, you know, because it does a lot.
yeah.
So it's I mean that kind of rounds out the list. I it's it does pretty well against aggro. That's I don't think I've lost to a really aggressive deck. It struggles a little bit more versus the slower decks.
Yeah, I could definitely see just because of the power, like purely because of like D burst,
Hmm.
energy weapon, the commenting. I definitely see really running the show against aggro, but I could definitely see board being an issue because there's
Well,
I
it
don't.
becomes if you can get capture attached versus the slower decks,
Mm,
chances are you're going to do okay. You know, they tend to have limited ways that they can get rid of that, which was what happened in the one board deck I played. My losses were to Mark Bolger's Enhanced Raditz was what he was running, and that dude just sacks me literally all the time.
yeah,
Like I don't think I've ever beat him in a tournament because I beat Enhanced Broly. I beat Kelly's Enhanced Broly earlier in the day with the deck. And
damn,
so Enhanced isn't necessarily a bad matchup, especially because you hit your teamworks early because there's so much endurance. And Enhanced, your teamworks do a lot of work about halfway through the game. Um,
interesting. That's interesting. You said it's a good matchup because I really do think Enhanced Broly is one of like the most monstrous decks in the game. It just can chew up and outgrind so many decks.
Absolutely, it can. It's very powerful. But Black Teamwork wins that game, and Kelly said that multiple times. Where he's like, "Oh, if you weren't running Black Teamwork," and I'm like, "Well,
I am.
I was running Black Teamwork, so
No, that's pretty wild.
fun times." And then I eventually lost in Top Cut to Dan B. Hughes' Energetic Broku,
Yes.
um, which was I beat him in Swiss actually. He leveled me both games.
Mm.
But the first game he actually leveled me to three, all the way to three, which he was a ball deck, you know,
Oh
so he's
boy.
running Earth balls, and so I was able to stave off his ball victory for a really long time,
Damn.
while I was able to, you know, like kind of mete out some damage. But then the in Top Cut, he unfortunately learned from his mistake.
Yes, of course.
And I even said right before the game starts, I was like, if you don't see Earthball 2, I really like my chances. And he dropped Earthball 2 turn one.
Ugh.
So I was like, okay,
You,
well, it's still winnable. It's just not likely.
you
And
hate
it, you know,
you hate to see it.
I mean, it was fun. You know, I had people cheering for me all day, making lots of abridged jokes.
Mm.
I do think that this is a solid tier 1.5 deck. And I think that people, you know, kind of scoff at that a little bit. But, you know, I do think some tweaking with the block lineup might be in order. I don't know if I would still run Dashing Punch.
Yeah.
Um, but for the most part, I think the card choices are really solid, even going into this new meta. And, you know, like if you want something fun and if you know you want something different, if you want something kind of grindy, Manipulative Nail kind of checks all those boxes. Um, and nobody sees it coming. They all underestimate you immediately.
Hmm.
So they're like, "Oh, good, a nail deck," and then you pound their face in and make it so they can't do anything, and they cry and they're sad. Um, so
Yeah,
that's
that's fair.
I mean, it's a really enjoyable deck to play. It surprised me. Like I originally was just like, ah, whatever. I'm just gonna throw some shit together and see what happens. And it ended up, you know, doing really really well.
No,
Um,
absolutely. Well, congratulations, man. I mean, granted, this is way after the fact, but I'm really glad that you made this deck. I think this is such a cool deck. It's got like it does. It's kind of like it's just like not pure. It's like very smart aggro. It's just so like technical, and there's like I really feel like this is like a deck that just the deck builder can really like push to the limit because of just the nature of the even the quantities of the hit effect cards. I'm looking at like teamwork for example. You know, like the decision to even run one of that card can completely change the matchup, let alone like two or three. You know, could like maybe three is just too much. Um, you know, some of these just these powerful hit effect cards are just so they can just completely change the tempo of combat with these effects. I think just knowing how to properly utilize that too must be incredibly important as well. So I really,
Yeah, sequencing is very, very important. And I mean, there are times when the best play is to pay your one stage to lower anger 2 levels with Black Gut Crusher. There are times when I originally ran teamwork as a one of, um, because occasionally I'll like if I'm feeling like spontaneous, I'll throw a black teamwork in my decks and just be
mm,
like, yeah, it'll be cool.
I'll be a little
And then it
fun.
performed so well that I wanted to see it more often, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I think I need to put another one in there. And so I mean, I do think that it's a deck where you can play with your numbers a little bit, to kind of suit your preferences.
Mm,
Some people may not want to run Black Disorienting Blow and want to throw in 3 Wall Breaker and drop, Heroic Dashing Punch or Fit Confrontation in, or switch up the block lineup. Like honestly, like if I were going to cut blocks, like I'd probably cut Nails Heritage first,
yeah.
just because Knee Clash and Hop are so good.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think that there's a lot of potential for people to play with this list and find your preferences. And it's a deck that, like, I really think you don't appreciate the power of until you play it or you play against it.
Yeah.
Um, because it's very underrated. And as you play, like the cool thing is, as you play, like you figure out the lines that are best. And I like decks like that. That you kind of get to learn while you play. And there are times that the right lines are a little bit different. Like I don't know that I've ever played another deck where I was begging to see Nails Dashing Attack. Like
For sure.
I'm just like, come on, man! Like I just need that ball capture right now.
Mm,
And in a lot of black decks, you're waiting for a Sin Choke, to do that, and it has to hit. And I don't know, Nail just brings some surprising things to the table. That I don't know, like he's very underplayed, but I think that he has a lot of potential. I don't know that he'll ever be tier 0, but I think that this deck could definitely consistently top cut. Maybe steal an event if things fall your way in top 8.
nice.
So
No, thank you. That's I think from knowing the experience of looking at the list and just imagining the matchups and stuff, I think I've played against this deck maybe once or twice. Very very cool deck. Very very cool deck. Very very interested to see if anybody can push this deck further. I think this just because of the strength of the card pool, this deck's always going to have a place. I think maybe outside of like maybe really board heavy metas, you could definitely would maybe be able to tweak with some tech cards of some sort. But really cool deck, then. I really appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Well, guys, like always, I'm going to end the video with if you do have a deck list that you would like to share with me and you'd like to kind of have profiled on this, shoot me a message either through Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be glad to try to get maybe a video going with you and showcase it. But anyway, I'd like to thank Brandon one more time. As I said it multiple times, really cool deck, and I hope you guys are getting out there playing. Take it easy. Peace.
Bye, guys.